Welcome back to Bax Talks Ball, part 2 of the 2023 NFL QB bracket, resuming with the Sweet 16.
Starting off, Tua and Jalen Hurts in the top side of our bracket. I got Tua moving on there. Matt Stafford, CJ Stroud. This is another really fun matchup here in the Sweet 16. The numbers would say CJ already. CJ in his rookie year, one of the best rookie years we have ever seen. And Matt Stafford, obviously a veteran now, got the Super Bowl win a couple years ago with the Rams. The loss in the first round this year to the Lions. Texans beating the Browns in the first round this year with the Lions. And I went CJ Stroud here in this one. As I said, one of the best QB seasons we've ever seen out of a rookie, and just 6 interceptions. That's insane for a rookie QB to have just 6 interceptions in his first season. Of course, went that streak. I can't remember if he broke the record or tied the record for most games without an interception to start for a rookie quarterback. And even despite that, Stafford just one more touchdown, but CJ had a higher completion percentage, higher passing yards, and higher QBR. So I went CJ there, and that one, of course, they got the playoff win. Really bright future for CJ. Love watching him play, and for the Texans with all the young guys they've got, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley on the defensive side of the ball, and then Nico Collins and Tank Dell with CJ Stroud on the offensive end. That's going to be a team that's going to be pretty good for a while now. And then now another big-time matchup here in the Sweet 16, and probably if it weren't for some of the lack of passing yards for Lamar Jackson, because that rushing offense was so good, you probably could see this as a championship or as a Final Four matchup. But Lamar Jackson was a 4 seed because he didn't have that many passing yards. So he's going up against Josh Allen here in the Sweet 16. So Lamar versus Josh Allen, a really fun matchup here in this one. And I went Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Josh Allen had another great end to the year. Like them, they did have some rocky spots mixed in. Of course, Josh with the turnovers, with the interceptions and the fumbles. But Lamar Jackson, the MVP here this year. Josh actually had 700 more passing yards and 5 more TDs. But Lamar did cancel that out with the 821 more rushing yards, plus 10 more rushing touchdowns. Or excuse me, actually Josh Allen had 10 more rush touchdowns because the Ravens would sort of go to Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, or throw it to Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers in the red zone. But the Bills, like the Eagles, they went with the QB sneak, and that was actually really effective for them down the stretch. And Josh Allen, a super powerful runner there in the end zone. Lamar overall more yards, but Josh Allen more touchdowns. And those turnovers, I talked about it right at the start of this matchup, but 18 turnovers, 18 interceptions for Josh Allen, just 7 interceptions for Lamar Jackson. And I go with the edge to the MVP in the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson. The other matchup there in that bracket, Sam Howell, Brock Purdy. Obviously Sam Howell, great run for him, great run for my guy. But Brock Purdy and the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy, say what you want about Brock Purdy. He's been very successful as a second-year player at Mr. Relevant, the whole story. Going to the NFC Championship game last year, getting hurt. Now he's got his chance at the Super Bowl, and we'll see what he's got in a couple weeks. To the other side of the bracket now, Jared Goff and Derek Carr. Derek Carr, a pretty solid run, knocking off Mason Rudolph and Jarrett Stidham, but he falls to the Lions, Jared Goff. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love. Jordan Love in his first season starting for the Packers, a great year for him. Trevor Lawrence was banged up. The Jaguars sort of took a step back, didn't make the playoffs this year, so I got Love over him. Got Dak over Geno, and then Patrick Mahomes over Baker. Baker, a good run for Baker as well, as the Bucs made the playoffs, and Baker knocking off the Eagles. So another good year for Baker Mayfield, one of the more interesting players, and certainly a chance at comeback player of the year. That one's, as I said, filming this on Monday, I think the day before the awards ceremony, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it's coming up for sure. But Baker in that category, along with Joe Flacco and, of course, DeMar Hamlin for comeback player of the year. But now moving on to the Elite Eight. Tua Tagovailoa, CJ Stroud to start us off. and I went Tua. The run for C.J. Stroud ends here. Of course, a great rookie year, but Tua and the Dolphins, just a high-octane offense. A really fun team to watch with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, the two running backs, Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane. A really, really good regular season for the Dolphins until that last stretch. They sort of tailed off as the weather got colder. Say what you want to about the Dolphins and losing to the Bills in that makeshift AFC North or AFC East championship game. And then losing to the Chiefs in the cold weather in the first round. But I do have Tua over C.J. Stroud here in the Elite Eight. Great year for Tua. Staying healthy, which was a big thing for him. So happy to see him do that. Hopefully he'll do the same in next year, and the Dolphins can sort of keep up with that fun offense down there in Miami. And down to the Elite Eight of the bottom left, Lamar and Brock Purdy. We saw that matchup late in the regular season, and Lamar was amazing in that regular season matchup. Brock Purdy, not so much. He was actually pretty bad in that matchup, but Lamar Jackson just so awesome in that matchup. So awesome overall. And before that matchup, they were pretty much even in terms of the odds for the MVP race, but then Lamar knocking off Brock Purdy head-to-head and then sort of cementing himself as the league's MVP here this year. I got him moving on over Brock Purdy. Over to the right side, Jared Goff and Jordan Love. I got Jared Goff here. Jordan Love, great run, and just like C.J. Stroud, kind of a rookie, not really a rookie, but first year starting, winning a playoff game. Great season for Jordan Love, but Jared Goff and the Lions overall just a better year. Better offense overall. Great year for the Packers. Not a good defense. Lions in their own right don't really have a good defense, but just some of the stuff that Jared Goff did with those targets, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, with Jahmyr Gibbs, passing out the backfield with Sam Laporta, another great rookie tight end out of Iowa. Just a great year for Jared Goff. One of his best years, honestly, maybe his best year other than that Super Bowl run with the Rams in 2019. Probably one of Jared Goff's best years here this year, and a great guy. Good to see him doing good things. Lions are a really fun team to watch. Unfortunately, last night, just a really tough choke. And actually, went out in November, back when I went to a Browns game with some of my buddies, I put in a future for the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And I was texting them at halftime. Of course, the Lions up 17. I'm like 90 minutes away from the Super Bowl ticket cashing. And then we get the second half from the Lions. And then I feel like a loser. No, of course, not as much as Detroit fans, but certainly sucks to see him go out like that, but a really fun year for Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. Dak and Pat Mahomes in the bottom right. I got Pat Mahomes. Dak, a really solid year for Dak. And just some of the late season stuff, the loss in the first round to the Packers was not good. Dak was not good in that one. I have a walking joke with one of my friends, who's a Cowboys fan. I call him Dak Poop Scott, and he was not Dak Poop Scott for most of the regular season, which is why he ended up as a 1 seed here in this bracket. But that playoff game against the Packers, he was Dak Poop Scott 100%. So I got Pat Mahomes. Moving on to the Final Four. And in our Final Four, we got Tua, Lamar, and then Goff and Pat Mahomes. So starting us off, Tua Tagovailoa and Lamar Jackson. I got Lamar Jackson moving on over Tua. Of course, Ravens getting to the AFC Championship. Dolphins losing in the first round. Lamar, the MVP. Got to have him moving on over Tua. And then on the other side of the bracket, got Pat Mahomes, Jared Goff. Like I said, great year for Jared Goff. Great year for the Lions. But it's Pat Mahomes. It's one of the most talented quarterbacks we have ever had without a good wide receiver room, and we'll talk about that in the championship matchup. But I got Pat Mahomes moving on over Jared Goff. And in our championship game, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, the matchup that we got yesterday. Of course, the Chiefs knocking off the Ravens to move on, and I got the same. I got Patrick Mahomes knocking off Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes, my champion of the bracket. The matchup we saw yesterday, as I just said, Lamar was really good in the regular season. The very deserved MVP of the league, and he'll get crowned that very soon. But it's really just hard to deny and really hard to say anything bad about Pat Mahomes. Man, another great year for Pat Mahomes. His statistics are not as high as they had been over the past couple of years because that receiving room was so bad. And even Travis Kelce had a couple of drop-offs, or had drops and had a drop off in the regular season. But now in the playoffs, Kelsey is back to the man that we had seen in those Super Bowl runs, and he was great in the playoffs so far. And the Chiefs as a whole, a great run here to the Super Bowl. And you got to give credit to Patrick Mahomes never giving up on those quarterbacks or on those wide receivers. Excuse me. Did have a lot of things to say about the refs, notably so about the refs, but he never said anything bad about those receivers. He never went publicly to complain about those guys. He just stuck with them. Let Rashee Rice develop as a rookie, and boy, has he turned into a really, really good receiver. Let MVS do his thing, be the deep ball guy. Let Travis Kelce sort of adjust to his newfound lifestyle, and then turn it on in the playoffs. And now here we are with the Chiefs. And I got Patrick Mahomes winning the 2023 QB bracket here. Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback of the year so far. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Lots more videos to come here, talking about not just football. We'll talk about some basketball, NBA, college basketball. As we get closer to baseball, we'll talk some MLB. We'll talk everything here on Bax Talks Balls. Hope you like the video. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you do. Ring the bell, and we'll see you next week here on Bax Talks Ball.